Alright, so hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume, and let's see, if I recall correctly, last we left off, we were working over here on Fulgora, and I think specifically we were doing this, right? Although I think we'd actually finished this, so I'm not entirely sure about that. So this is making our EM science, and the major thing we're waiting on is up here, where we are making legendary red circuits, and also green circuits, but those are less important. So we have the modules in space on their way over here to finish off the current setup here for Fulgora, which is pretty cool. So that means this is about to be done, and once this is finished, we will be able to go over and construct this, which is the sort of final form of our legendary red circuit production thing. So the other thing which I wanted to do is, I had Googled it because previously we'd been having serious delays on the drone port stuff, and it turns out that that delay, according to someone on Reddit, is caused by having a whole bunch of ghosts that are not within drone port range. Apparently, I guess when you place a new ghost, it tries to see if any of these guys can get placed before trying to place the new one, and so that is what's causing the delay. So we're just going to bring the Spidertron over here and dismantle all of this stuff. So here we are, and that all goes away. And the poor Spidertron is going to have a lot of work to do to take this all apart. But that'll get rid of some of the ghosts, and then it won't be too long before we can just actually get the rest of this stuff actually built, which should help get rid of the remaining ghosts. So you are picking up a whole bunch of stuff, including some random scrap that we don't really care about or want, but it's fine. Also, we're getting struck by lightning occasionally, which is not ideal. So let's also make sure to go and pick up all this foundation, because that stuff is pretty expensive. And so that is all picked up. Now we go up here, and we get all that stuff. And then we yoink the foundation as well. And Spidertron has actually taken a lot of damage, which is a bit worrying. So we're going to have to get you back to a spot to be repaired soon. And your power grid has failed. We really need to get portable fusion reactors built at some point. Let's see, is that, like, easy to do? Or... okay, it's got like 10 products going into it. We'll worry about that later, it's mostly fine. We might just have to have this Spidertron retreat back into somewhere safe. And it can go there and repair and recharge, and then come back down to finish that off. And transport platform is here. So we launch our modules down, and that should finish off the current setup. Spidertron has been repaired. And let's actually just bring it all the way over here to the cargo landing pad, where we can deal with stuff from that and just unload all of this scrap and everything pretty quickly. Although our drones here, which are trailing behind us, are not super happy about moving around like this. Hopefully they'll catch up and not get lost in the middle of nowhere. Looks like some of them might be. Okay, there's like the world's tiniest gap there, which I guess we will cover for. And now that's all good. So the Spidertron is doing Spidertron things, emptying out its inventory of all the excess junk. And probably also getting restocked of some things. So over here, this has indeed all been built up. So this is 100% done. So now what we want to do is just get this constructed. Now we have to figure out where we're putting it, obviously. So we might just like have it be over here and use up like 20 billion. If we use up just a whole bunch of foundation, then we can place it here where we already have the inputs that we want. Or we could just find another place to put it, like down there is a big island, but that's super far away from everything. We can probably squeeze it mostly on one of these islands. Okay, so let's do that, shall we? Let's just try to... Okay, I'm not sure I want to cut and paste, but it'll probably be fine. So we can cut that, and then we paste it just somewhere where it's mostly on land and relatively close to some other stuff. Like, this is probably good. So hopefully that got placed. I'm going to run the Spidertron up. Sorry, Mr. Spidertron, you're getting a bit of a workout today. Your personal drone port has not recovered enough power to do this. But we just need to get you sort of in the area to confirm that it was placed. And it was. Okay, so now the Spidertron is doing stuff. So step one is to get drone ports and power out there, which we just copy one of you guys and get rid of that random thing in there. So then we can bring this along. As long as it's all within power connection range, it should be fine. So that will be a start. And then this needs to be connected up as well. So this is a bit inefficient in terms of the use of drone ports, but it should be fine for the lightning collection and everything. And yeah, now this whole area is officially, at least part of it, is within bounds for construction. So they're going to go do that. And we're going to need a whole lot of stuff to build this. So let's have you go out that way. And you're going to also need some coverage. Okay, so the power is connected. The lightning collectors are starting to get in, but we're going to need more of them. So we need to just cover as much of this area in lightning collectors as possible. And we can have the Spidertron help with that. So you can come down here. And it looks like there are just drones taking this very long and dangerous trip, which I definitely don't want them to be doing, but since they're doing it, we're just going to have to live with it. And get as much of this path covered as we can. It looks like they're traveling along a relatively narrow stretch though, so hopefully this start that we're doing here will be able to cover most of it. So there we go. And then these last couple got pre-assigned to some other drones elsewhere. And okay, there's a huge chunk of them coming up this way, which we're going to need to address. So all those guys get placed, and then the Spidertron runs along and gets all the lightning collectors in. And let's cover in some more of that area. And hopefully that will be good enough. Or at least close to it. No, we've got a bunch of them going up this way. So we get a couple more lightning collectors in there. And that should be mostly set. Is that a gap in there? Yeah, there is a bit of a gap in there, which we should probably just deal with. Okay, but that should be just about what we need. So now what we need to do is we actually need to connect these power lines up to there, and then across all of these other gaps, so that this RoboPort in particular can get powered up. And then we're also going to need that connection to be made, and there's going to have to be some more connection elsewhere. So this RoboPort now has power. And why does it say, oh, the Spidertron got zapped? That makes sense. Spidertron can run somewhere else. And we're getting a whole lot of construction. We don't have all of the legendary recyclers yet, or a whole lot of things we're missing out on, but it's getting started at least. So now we need to move another RoboPort up there to get these guys done. And hopefully we have enough lightning collectors. No, we don't have enough lightning collectors to do all this. And that's not good, because that is going to make it dangerous for some of the other guys. So, lightning collector production. What is going on with you? Where even is that? Up here. You're not getting enough tier 1 lightning rods. And you aren't getting enough stone bricks. Because this guy isn't getting enough iron plate output up this way. Okay, so we need to fix that by having hopefully just like one recycler, which will destroy the iron plates. And that will do some stuff. Then in the meantime, we can get some of them crafting by adding more space into that chest, which should, I think, get this whole thing running again. Oh, but this is like a weird second priority thing from the main supply of gears. So it is working though, which means we are making lightning rods, which means that hopefully all this stuff will get built. So that is now going, and it's just okay, it's even better than 1-to-1, so that should be fine. And we're going to need to wait for all the foundation to come across, not to mention the legendary recyclers, which are going to be super expensive, and that's just to get the whole thing built. So you are basically going as fast as you can. It doesn't say that they are no longer missing the materials for construction, so I don't know what's up with that. Something seems to be going wrong with all that. Okay, so we need to connect these power lines across, and we need to just connect them down to there as well, so that can all be good. And then we need to get those connected up and those connected up. So those power lines should finish us off. And it looks like the lightning collectors are going in. So there we go. There's some serious inefficiency here with these two guys right next to each other. I'm not sure how that happened, but should be able to just remove half of those, and there are no like inconvenient specks that show up. It's all covered. And then we're just waiting on these guys up top before all the rest of this can be done. Okay, so that's all good. Now, which one of you was carrying the foundations? Wasn't you? Was it you? No. How about you? No, no foundations there. Okay, it's Aquilo Support 2. And it's carrying 500 foundations at a time. So that should help a lot. It's not going to completely solve the problem. We're going to need a second delivery of foundations for that, and potentially even a third. Okay, and apparently we also need lightning collectors up this way, which will get done eventually. Okay, let's just get Spidertron up there to help with that. You know, this whole area is sort of naturally lightning protected, so that's convenient. So Spidertron can run up this way and start working on these lightning collectors, which are going to need the Spidertron's help because they need foundation, and the Spidertron is the only guy that has foundation right now. So let's get a couple of you in. And down to here. Okay, that is pretty decent coverage, looks like. How much foundation is the Spidertron carrying? Just 100 and some? Hopefully will be enough. We also need a whole bunch of other assorted construction materials for this, but I believe all of those are being brought in correctly. Right, so if we go down to this, you are requesting some of those, you're requesting the boxes, you're requesting the speed modules, the stack inserters, the foundations. Okay, and then let's just add on the productivity modules to this as well, just so that we don't have to be manually clicking every time. So we can get those set up, and then Fulgora support, you've got plenty of space, right? Right, so you can just officially bring those with minimum payloads of like 10-ish, probably. And we're going to need a lot of them, but now those will be automated at least, so we won't have to worry about that. And we are still getting our legendary red circus out of here, and that's going pretty efficiently. Okay, Fulgora, we just lost a power pole. Where is that power pole? I see, it's one of these guys over here. Well, that's gonna be difficult to construct. So we need to move very carefully so that these lightning rods are... Okay, no, we've used all of our foundation now, so that was a bit of a failure, but we did get that one in, so that's something at least. Okay, so this whole thing is getting built, and currently I don't think it's at all even remotely functional, because we don't have recyclers for anything past the first row. We do seem to have another wave of legendary beacons getting placed in, though, so that's cool. A lot of these guys are just waiting on foundations. Okay, so for the legendary recyclers, we need to figure out if there's anything specifically going wrong with them, or if it's just an input problem. So you don't have legendary gear wheels or legendary concrete. Fulgora support is where those come from, right? Legendary concrete. No, apparently not. Oh wait, yes. Yes, legendary concrete coming in from Novice. Which, I don't even know if Novice has a good supply of legendary concrete, to be honest, but hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. So that's happening. Aquilo support 2... Okay, Aquilo support 2 managed to miss Fulgora. So you can do just like and 20 seconds of inactivity. Because all your requests from Fulgora are satisfied, so you're not stopping to wait long enough to actually deliver those foundations that you want to be delivering. So we're just gonna have you do that. And now we have to go back to Novice and check. I'm pretty sure our legendary concrete factory is incredibly embarrassing. We've got 81. We're importing concrete via drones. We're using quality module tier 4s. And it's sort of going nowhere. So, I mean, it's not completely dead, but it's certainly not going well. So, we are going to need... Let's see, we can probably just build that on Fulgora too. Oh, and we can clear out all those ghosts. And we're going to have to unclear out all the lightning collectors in the area because we need our lightning collectors. I probably should have just built this in such a... I should have just done the dismantling in such a way that that wasn't a problem, but it should be fine, right? So this whole area still counts as covered as long as the drone port... As long as the Spidertron doesn't walk through here, it should be fine, basically. So, Aquilo support 2, you have sent down all the foundation. Oh, that was too slow. I saw that there was an additional 22 for some reason. Tried to fix it, but it didn't quite work. So that is going to get, like, a lot of these foundations finished off. And then Aquilo itself has another 500. Let's actually move your storage up to 1,000, just in case that becomes a thing which we need to deal with. So, our supply of concrete here on Novice is pretty terrible. So we are going to have to make a legendary concrete cycler up here on Fulgora. It doesn't have to be big, though. So where is our current just regular concrete stuff? It's right here. Okay, so here is what we do. We take the novice setup. We simply copy-paste this. And we can pop it on Fulgora, just like down here. Rotate you vertically, I think, because that way the input will be on approximately the right side. And you can go in there and get all built up. So then we don't need that. Instead, we need this belt here to go in. And I guess it just has to go in like this or something like that, with input priority for the stuff that's cycling back, of course. And then we need to make sure that we're still getting a steady supply of concrete to send into there. And it looks like we are, right? So this is actually mostly filled up and is going to be heading out in a second. So that should help out with that. And all the stuff is getting built up. We're probably going to swap these up to legendary quality modules, assuming we have them. Okay, now all the power stuff is in. And all the machines are in, and now we're just waiting on the quality modules, which we'll let them place in the epics first, because it seems like they have them available. And are we short on bulk inserters as well? Yeah, things are kind of in shambles here. Do you request bulk inserters? Yes, you do, but you've delivered all of them, so that's going to be a delay until Fulgora support makes it back. But all of those guys are in. So all of those modules are in. Now let's just... This should be fine, right? Just upgrading those to legendary, because I believe we still have plenty of legendaries here. Okay, so we are receiving that concrete delivery. And actually, I want to be able to kind of store some of these. I don't know how exactly we're going to make that work. But I don't want the main recycling system to destroy all of our stuff, basically. So if we just go something like that, then eventually when all those things get built, and we need the steel chests. Are we even supplying steel chests here? Yes, we are. So once this shows back up, that should help get the legendary concrete cycling. And then that just goes into a passive provider chest, which is all it needs to do. So Fulgora support is on its way. Transport platform is here. So you can turn around and head back to Novice, because you don't have anything useful at the moment. And Aquilo support. So Aquilo is still making fresh foundations. There should be enough there that when Aquilo support 2 should pick all those up. So that is that. So it'll show up here, it'll pick up the remaining foundations, and then go on a super lengthy trip back to Novice, and then it will eventually deliver them to Fulgora, and we will have all the foundations in. So that's all set up and good. And it looks like these lightning collectors are much too frequent, but that's fine. It's just a couple of foundations and a lightning collector that we're running out of by doing it that way. So, Fulgora support is currently stopped at novice. How long does it wait? 2.5 minutes. Okay, why aren't you dropping those off? Has something funky happened here with our supply of red circuits? Okay, yes, we have plenty of red circuits actually. So why aren't you running? It's because we don't have enough blue circuits. And the reason we don't have enough blue circuits is because we don't have enough, because we very cleverly set this to be regular red circuits instead of legendary red circuits. Yeah, that'll certainly do. So let's just temporarily get some of those guys cleared out and start making the blue circuits again. So that is all going. We just need that bulk inserter to get placed. And the good news is that we are going to have a lot of red circuits now, so that will let us build these guys pretty quickly while we're just waiting for the blue circuits to get through. Alright, so that is in, and you are going to be filtered to be red circuits only, so you can get all those out. And then leave all of these guys in. And so now we are producing plenty of blue circuits again. Once this... Yeah, can you just get up to a full large-scale delivery, please? Just so that this can go fast, because we need like 2-ish red circuits per second. So that's that. I think I just saw a whole bunch of quality modules go. Fulgora support is currently getting... Oh, iron gear wheels. These were another thing which the recyclers needed, so let's... That... No, that didn't get set up properly. So let's get those up so that we deliver more than 100 legendary gear wheels at a time. And that should be all good. You're getting more legendary beacons, unsurprisingly. And let's also set these guys up to like 200 at a time. And then let's go back to Vulcanus to make sure we actually have the materials to do all that. So... Oh, we finished another productivity thing. Very cool. Let's just do another one, because why not? Okay, so this is one supply of legendary steel, but the main one is up here. And we have this being somewhat limited in how much we're going to store. So let's significantly unlimit both of those. And because this is like the main thing that our legendary iron plates are going to now that we don't have to make legendary green circuits anymore. And speaking of not having to make legendary green circuits anymore, I wonder if we just straight up dismantle some of the spares, because we have a bunch of spare legendary green circuits, right? If we go down to here. Yeah, we have so many that we are just straight up destroying them. So what we might as well do is we might as well get some of these guys in to filter out the legendary iron and copper plates. So that can let Fulgora be a source of legendary iron and copper as well, which we'll then be able to use to make some legendary gear wheels and steel plates here on Fulgora instead of having to import them. And that should be all fine and dandy. So the blue circuits are still going out. This is just going to be it's probably going to be a while before that fully drains like it needs to, which means we'll get a lot of modules in the meantime. And this is all going. It's kind of surprising that this hasn't completely failed yet. It was really rocky at the beginning, but then it somehow just sort of magically worked itself out. Okay, the Spidertron actually has internal buffers of a lot of the things which are missing. So let's have you run around and try to build some of those. So we can run up here, get a whole bunch of these stack inserters in, and what else is it? Do you have any more stack inserters? No. You have 6 more. And I can't find where they are, so it's fine. They'll show up eventually. I think it's... Oh, it's these ones over here, actually. I see them now. So you can just sort of run around and do all that you can for that. It seems like we missed a power pole or 2 on this side. Not sure how that happened, but whatever. Just get these guys in. And then this stuff over here, which is having power problems, is just because the foundations haven't been built in yet. So that's not a concern. Now, is this whole area... I actually think we're barely out of drone range up this way, so let's get another drone port up there. Just to make sure that that extends all the way, and we're not weirdly missing any, like, side bit there. Okay, then we actually... So we need to do more construction, because we need to get blue circuits into this whole setup. And we also need to get the sulfuric acid. So we need to get... The sulfuric acid was just ice cubes, iron plates, and oil from the oceans, I think. So let's start working on that. So we just grab this section in here, basically. And we just need this to connect in to this pipe. Of course, we can place it however we want. That'll make it fit best. So how about you just go in, I don't know, something like this, maybe. And then your pipe goes all the way over here. So that is the sulfuric acid pipe connected up. And these guys... Okay, we need more roboports over this way. So let's get that built up. And then we're probably going to have to expand this as well, because this is not all that much sulfuric acid production. But that can be something we figure out later. And so as far as getting things in, we're just bringing the iron plates in via requester chest there. And let's honestly just delete easiest, because I don't think this is a huge amount of ice cubes. You can revisit this if it becomes a problem, but we can just put the ice cubes in there via requester chest. And then we just need an offshore pump. Just sort of, apparently, it only fits down there. So that connects in. And now all of this stuff up here gets built. And we will get to see how well this works out. So the ice cube demand is like 3 per second here, and like 3 iron plates per second in theory. We also did wind up needing more power poles on some of these rows. So let's just get those in. And then you're going to need those as well. So that should be that. And now this can get started, hopefully. Are we missing anything important for this? Not quite. Alright, so how many ice cubes do we have? We have 4,000 ice cubes in logistics storage. So that shouldn't be a problem. We just need all of this stuff to get built. And actually with the speed modules and everything, this might wind up being a lot of ice cubes, so we might need to bring those in via train. And speaking of bringing things in via train, I guess actually we have this setup here, which is exactly the setup we need. So let's just grab that. So these are the blue circuits and the ice cubes. And then this can go in. If we go in over here and then just belt them across the ocean, it will require a lot fewer foundations. So let's do that. And hopefully that RoboPort is close enough to connect up properly. Also, we've got all these random storage chests, which I don't know about. I don't know about those, but it should be fine, hopefully. So then we have this one is the blue circuits, and it needs to get down into this belt here. So we just have you go across like that. And then this belt is the ice cubes. And you just need to go up this way. And all the way just sort of through here. And then up in a zigzaggy, convoluted path. Okay, now we need to get across this pipe, which means let's make that pipe a little bit less complicated. So you can just go like that. You go underground to there and up to there. And then we don't need you. We don't need you to be bringing that stuff in. Okay, so now all of this is going to be getting built. This power pole, this drone port didn't get properly connected, so let's get another one in down here to make that work. And okay, it looks like this didn't paste in properly, so let's repaste it holding all the correct buttons so that it overwrites various objects which we need it to overwrite. And then we're going to need to connect the power lines down like so. And that should theoretically be everything. Until we just need to get the rails in, but let's not connect the rails in until this is like somewhat functional. At least like the tiniest bit. And speaking of which, why are the recyclers not recycling? So where are this? You are still missing legendary concrete. And you still have plenty of the other things, although we do want to up our requests for them. So we are going to request a lot of those and a lot of those. And obviously we have the blue circuits being produced on site. So now we just need to find the concrete setup that we made. And why are you not working? Okay, output priority right. Get that powered. So where is our concrete? Oh, okay, so the concrete cargo wagon is coming around now, so we'll be able to see it show up. Still 540 foundations short of where we need to be, which is going to be quite a bit of work, but hopefully it is fine. Alright, so the concrete comes out, then it goes down this way, and it does seem to be working, but it's just that this whole recycling system is a lot faster. So let's get that in, and if we just expand you out to 2 more, then that should make things a lot better. And I don't know if the other roads will be able to keep up with all this, but that's what we will be about to find out. Okay, so then those get upgraded, and why do you just output? Oh, I see, you're outputting directly into this line. That's kind of incredibly awkward. So we're going to need this first line to go a couple more recyclers deep. And you all get moduled up and belted up. We're still got plenty of quality modules, so that's still not a problem. And then these can get powered up. And we need another power pole over there for those guys. And this... So this is the belt with the sort of hazard recycling things on it. Alright, so it's running. And we are occasionally getting some through. We need these guys to get their quality modules so that they can actually be productive. And we need that power line to not be in that exact spot so that you can all be connected up. Maybe... Yeah, so now that power grid is reconnected again. So this is currently successfully outputting everything. Are we 1 quality module short, or has it just not gotten delivered? That... It probably got struck by lightning or something. Knowing Fulgora. Alright, so we do actually have a bunch of... I just saw a big batch of legendary striped concrete go out. So that should be good. That should give us what we need. And I think we need a lot of the stuff in order to get everything going properly. And then it's just still the question of, like, how much storage of this can we do? So our current storage system is pretty bad in terms of how much concrete we can grab off of this before it all gets destroyed. So this is still like the main priority, but it's not going super well. So what we need to do is we need to have these sorts of boxes in here so that we can gather up a whole bunch of them real fast. It would be easier if this were just attached to the train network in a normal fashion. Where are we losing? We're losing a bunch of these guys in this area here. So let's get that line covered up, and we're going to need to get the Spidertron over there to help build it. And hopefully the Spidertron has foundations still. If not, then we won't be able to build this. So Spidertron is in the area, and what are your construction bots doing? Okay, you don't have any foundation on you, so there's no point you standing there. You can just leave. It looks like we got a big delivery, and most of the foundation is here. We're just a tiny bit short. And somehow we're still not enough stack inserters just yet. I wonder if Novice even has those anymore, or if there's something going wrong as well here. Okay, Novice does not appear to be requesting stack inserters currently, meaning it should have enough. So that should be all good. Aquilo has gotten a bit stuck on carbon fiber, but that's probably fine. No, the foundations were just delivered, so that's not going to be doing much of anything. And okay, we need another lightning collector in there to protect these belts that we're building here. Okay, so is this... Where was that setup? I keep losing the concrete setup that we had. It is technically still running, just like through the last couple thousand of it, until the train shows back up. So, let's... If we get a couple of you guys in, and these are going to need to be stack inserters because we don't have any of those. So we get that in. This then feeds into there. So that should hopefully provide us with a permanent stockpile. Actually, I don't like that connecting in that specific way. I want you to sort of loop around like this and be input priority left. But that should help us out a little bit. And obviously all the actual legendary concrete immediately gets sucked up and turned into these guys. And we need a lot of it. It's like 16 legendary concrete per recycler. And we need 135 legendary recyclers, so you know. No big deal, just a couple of machines. And this whole area is all messed up because we don't have the foundations to build that lightning collector. Oh boy. Building massive things like this is really difficult when you aren't quite set up for it. So we're missing 34. Aquilo has enough. And your minimum payload is 50, so that won't be an issue. And it looks like this is still running. It's just not running continually. It just depends on when it has all the stuff it needs. So that's fine. So we have the foundations, and we're going to be continually getting more of them. Seems like we have the legendary beacons. It seems like we've got those. So the big thing we're waiting on are the recyclers and obviously the modules. The quality modules might be fine. I don't know, let's see here. If we just find like a requester chest somewhere, legendary quality modules. How many of these do we have? We have 40. Okay, so we've got 40 legendary quality modules, which is not enough, but we should be doing better on those now. So this is continually producing. Looks like red circuits have become the bottleneck once again, as they should be. Blue circuits are doing fine. And red circuits are slowly trickling through. So Fulgora support is here, and it's got all these requests coming in. Transport platform also has a whole bunch of modules, so I guess you can take a journey down to Fulgora just to get some of those guys set up. It'll help a tiny little bit. And our concrete production is still the thing we're waiting on. And right now it's currently active, and we are building up a stockpile of the stuff. And let's see if we can upgrade these to stack inserters so that can get even better. So we have a stockpile of it, and we are producing them. So that is slowly but surely working away at it. Fulgora support has all the stack inserters we need for that request, and it has all the speed modules we need as well. The other legendary quality stuff is going to be a minute. Okay, so Aquilo support 2 is on its way back to Aquilo to pick up the foundations. So that's all good. And these are just sending drones out every so often, as they should be. Okay, so now we've managed to get it so that it's running somewhat without having to wait for like immediate trains. We are definitely just burning through more concrete than we are producing like this, which is a bit of a nuisance, but nothing we can do about that. And these guys are not, they've not got any fancy assembly machines that we can do to make it better. It just is what it is in the regular old assemblers. And the good news is that this is running without getting jammed, so far at least. So that's good. That should mean we can just kind of leave it here and be mostly fine. Then we can pop over to here, and that is still the limiting factor. We've got plenty of spares of all the others, and not many spares of those. So recyclers themselves, actually, we can... Surely there's a... No, we can't make recyclers in EM plants or anything. So there's no better efficiency that we can do for these. And just checking, no productivity modules, so there's nothing we can do to make that more resource efficient. It just is what it is. It's not... This machine isn't telling me how many crafts it's completed, which is annoying. I want to know just so I know, like, is an extra 134 of those a completely insane amount or just a mildly unhinged amount? And ultimately, like, we do need most of these to get built before anything even happens. So that's annoying. Transport platform is coming over, Fulgora support is coming over, and Aquilo support 2 is... It's still got multiple legs of a trip to make. I wonder if we just skip Novice to just get the foundations here earlier. Because we've got plenty of them. So yeah, I think we're going to just have this manually skip Novice for this particular trip. Just so that that weird stuff with that doesn't happen. The support 2 is just static. This doesn't do anything at all. So this is all going. And you've got plenty of fuel, so we can definitely afford to skip the novice stop. Which we're just gonna have to wait to do that manually and hope that we don't miss it when it happens. And also hope that we don't get all of our belts destroyed by lightning strikes before that shows up. And just another check that this is still not jammed. It's technically working, but not anything impressive. Over here, concrete is filling up. Yeah, I think we kind of low-key need more scrap input for the concrete cycling that we're doing. And I don't super know how to do that. We've got this untrain limited, so we can just get more trains in if we need to. Are there any other, like, massive scrap stockpiles anywhere? Like the 40 million? Yeah, there's a 26 million down there, and 18 million down there, so there's still good chunks of scrap around, so we don't really have to be worried about using it efficiently as long as we can just use enough of it. So we've got a whole lot of everything, basically. And none of this stuff is jamming anything, so that's all good. Go over to Novice, because you were also technically doing concrete recycling in a very underwhelming way. How many have you done? This has finished 1,500 products, which is not terrible, I guess. And this is Red Circuit Limited, as usual. But it could be a lot worse. So Fulgora support, you are heading back to Novice from Fulgora, despite the fact that you've got plenty of stack inserters to deliver. So let's make sure that those get delivered. Okay, I see what's happening. We need to add an inactivity period on here of like probably just like 10 seconds. And we'll just have you manually drop those. And it didn't work for some reason. Please go back to Fulgora. Please drop off the stupid stack inserters. Why are you not... They're literally... Okay, there we go. We got them through. This needs to be like probably 30 seconds in order for it to be reliable. So we have that going for us now. And these guys are doing the scrap recycling. And they're outputting plenty. And it's really just getting more scrap input into there, which is the problem. Like, currently we don't have... Actually, both sides of this stop are paused. Oh, did we get a traffic jam, or is that just a weird intersection? Oh, I think it's probably a weird intersection, right? So we need you. Maybe if we do that, it's not normally a good idea, but because this is a train station, it shouldn't be an issue. I think what's happening, I'm actually not sure. There shouldn't be waiting that long at that station, no matter what. But this might break things, but probably won't. And it might fix things, but probably won't. So, you know, basically just a wash. And now we have 5 legendary concrete just sitting in the box, which indicates that this... Okay, why are those not... Okay, they did eventually get brought over. So that's all good. Now we're down to 133 recyclers missing. This is gonna take a while. We should see, yeah, there's one on that list getting set up. And Aquilo support 2. Alright, we wanted to have you just go to Fulgora, but it seems like stopping by Gleba first is still necessary anyways, right? No, you could have gone directly to Fulgora, but I guess at this point it's too late. That's fine. It'll still be faster to have you going directly. And yeah, at this point it's the legendary concrete recycling which we are waiting on, and even here on Fulgora, our supply of legendary concrete is somewhat limited. So we have this nice setup. So we do have plenty of stuff here. I just don't want us to be erasing all this stuff nearly as often. Let's see if we can just make those belts faster. See if that helps any. Alright, at this point it's kind of just, we kind of just have to let it cook for a bit. Like, this is all set up and running. We have the scrap trains. We could conceivably use an additional scrap train, because this is really only running, like, it can't even empty the trains fast enough. But I guess at the moment we have a pretty good cycle of like trains constantly showing up. What we need probably is another stop. So we just need a second stop so we can have multiple trains loading simultaneously. That might be what's necessary to get the scrap output going stronger, although it definitely seems like an additional train will also be beneficial. So let's go down to this area, I guess, because I don't think this is used much, but it is still connected up. So we get train, 1, 2, 3, 4 cargo wagons. And, oh wait, this isn't in drone range. That whole area is not covered by drones, so we need to find somewhere to build this that is covered by drones, but doesn't have any trains in it at the moment. So I guess, like, the holmium ore unloading spot would probably be the safest, because it takes holmium a long time to fill up and have to go. So hopefully this works. And this, we're going to build this at the unloading side so we don't get random holmium ore in the factory, in the train. So that is going to be built. And hopefully it doesn't take too long. It might have to bring them from all the way across the planet, or it might just have to bring them from right there. I think, yeah, so this is going to take forever to fill up, just based on how fast it's going right now. So we should be fine basically no matter what. So where did that holmium thing go? I've lost it already. It's down here. So we've got one cargo wagon in, which means that the rest should be pretty close. Yeah, here they come. And the train is in. And one more wagon. There we go. Train gets added to the scrap group. And off you go. Have fun with that. Hopefully that will help us and not just somehow like make the traffic worse and ruin everything. Okay, so the The blue circuits here are still running. Actually, this is jammed again. Okay, that's a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping it had miraculously fixed itself, but it's not terribly surprising. So let's just get a little bit more capacity on these guys. Just so that we don't have any weird problems with that. I've determined that just like having these boxes at the end keeps it functional for like a relatively long time unless you get unlucky. So let's get that running again. And that's probably going to have like long run effects on the supply of red circuits up here, but that's fine because we fixed it now. And it's going again. And again, hopefully, in theory, our new setup up here should not have any of those problems. Down to 126 missing legendary recyclers, which is something. Is there any way of just getting more concrete? No, this is basically as good as we can do. It's taking its time to fill up. It's pretty quick. Could be much slower, that's for sure. And then once it fills up, I guess we'll see. We can probably just stop more waste. So if we just chop that out so that we don't end up recycling, so we don't end up destroying it, any of the concrete, as opposed to currently where we're just trying to minimize the amount of concrete we destroy. So that train is coming out and just heads around. Should be up here any second now. Any second now. And in it goes. So here comes the concrete. And it's gonna go through here. And now it's gonna probably start to hit the backlog point where it would be just destroying the concrete. But instead, we were just gonna cycle the entire train load up into higher quality. So how much is this? Okay, it actually just goes through so fast anyways. And partially that's just because we're storing it up again, but it's really not large bursts of concrete. It's kind of small bursts of concrete, really. But this isn't getting stuck. So it was backlogged, which means we would be destroying extra concrete, but now it isn't. So we should be all set to just have this run for a while. And if this is able to get through all of this concrete, then we won't expand it. If it isn't, then we will expand it. And I think it probably will, though. I don't know. It's hard to say. Hard to say for certain. We've got a whole lot of concrete in here. So if this isn't enough, we have to like add more assemblers onto here, and hopefully just one or two more will do the trick. So it looks like it is getting to the point where these guys are empty, and so now it's just running off of this storage here, which hopefully will be good enough. Now what's like the ratios on this? So this is 40. So this is like a quarter goes up in equality. And then of those a quarter, we get a quarter of them back, and then a quarter of that go up in quality again. I don't know, it's hard to do the math here, but the ratios are pretty bad, but not... They're pretty bad, but not like completely abysmal, I think. So this machine has finished 43 products. Only 43 have made it up to the epic quality. We're getting a decent chunk through as is. And that's all good. There's no way of converting back from hazard concrete to regular concrete without recycling. So this is basically all we can do. And how drained is this? It's actually not super drained. Got a whole lot left. Let's make these guys all stack inserters instead of just a couple of them. And we didn't even run out of stack inserters doing that. That's great. So that is going. This has now finished 45 cycles. And it's about to do another one. There we go. That's going to give a little bit more. It's just so... The ratio is just so bad, though. So let's go back here to Novice. Because we have this set up right, and it's, like, incredibly inefficient with the Tier 4 modules. So let's get this one all upgraded, and it's going to just get first dibs on any quality modules coming out of here, which will be fine, because those aren't really the bottleneck right now. And let's also set this up to like 5,000 delivered at a time, just so that we get absolutely all the concrete that we can down here. And if I recall correctly, that is just... I mean, it's only feeding from like 4 machines. So the novice side of things is not going to be going super well for us. But hopefully we can do a little bit. Hopefully we can just get a little bit of extra legendary concrete out there. Otherwise, we're going to need to figure out how to do more with this. But it does look like this is going to fully drain by the time the next train comes in, unless that's happening like at this very moment. It's relatively close. It's relatively close, but this does look like it's going to finish. So there we go. That's all happening. And these are continuing to do their thing. Honestly, like, this does work quite nicely for the recycling. It's just the amount of input that we can fit on a belt, the amount of concrete that we have available to us is being limited by the scrap supply, which is a massive nuisance. But the recycler itself is doing great. So yeah, we have no more spare concrete waiting to get put into the system. Now it's just cycling the last little bit of that. And this should be soon, though. So it's very, very close to being enough concrete to keep that system busy. And did that additional train we added in help at all? Or is it just pointless? We have 2 trains on our way to the scrap destination at the moment. And we are getting a bit of a delay. So, like, at this point, the round trip time of the trains is kind of incredibly important. So, we need to get absolutely everything that we need to get every, like, little bit that we can. So this whole purple thing out to there is 1 block, which means the next train can't show up until this train is like all the way out there. So let's put another train signal up in that area so that the train can move in much sooner. That'll be a minor improvement, hopefully. And then hopefully we can find similar fixes elsewhere. And we're having plenty of time unloading these. So let's get these upgraded to like maximum unload speeds. So currently these are just 3 crates, but we can fit 6 on, and that will cut the unload time in half, which we're going to need to swap over to substations for the power because it's going to be a bit more complicated, but that's fine. And we do need that substation to actually get built, because we're going to be slowing this. We're actually just going to be straight up breaking this in the meantime. So we get you in like that, you like that, you like that. Then we get this one rotated around, get all this stuff in. And okay, so that's in at least, so we can get this last bit out. But somehow this section of power lines isn't connected up to anything. Let's make sure that that is fixed. And then we need to get, first of all, we need to get substations everywhere to power all of these. And then we can squeeze in like individual power poles to get these random guys who didn't quite fit. And then once all of that is in, we are going to need to redesign all this stuff so that these actually output onto the proper belt lines. So this one has to go like that, and then that goes up there. Why did you go underground? Why would you ever think that that's what I wanted? So then this one, yeah, we actually need to completely move this whole thing to fit better, because this one needs to go along like that and then up. Then we need to take this guy out, and then this one goes like that and up. Then this last one goes like that and up, and that means we're gonna have to move the stupid substation. Okay, so then we get our mergers in, which, how do we do this? This was a relatively lazy merge, right? Yeah, because we're not merging it down to just one piece. We actually do need a little bit more space so that all of these guys can fit in. And so you go in like that. Now we are going to need that whole thing to be upgraded, and then we need to take these belts out. Not this one, that one was correct. Need to take these belts out and get them properly lined up. So we get you in, and let's just make sure to go like that. Actually, we need one more space, I think. So you go like that, and like that, and like that, and like that. Then we upgrade all of that because I forgot to do it. And then we just need this to just sort of connect up into these. And you go up to there, and then you... of course, that doesn't work. Okay, we can fix that by having you just come down a little bit like that, and then you can go up that way. Alright, so that should be that half all set up properly. Then we copy this half exactly, flip you horizontal, get that all built in, and that should get this set up to be maximum speed unloads. And we just need all of this stuff to get built first. We just need basically this one substation, and apparently this whole region down here got disconnected while waiting for this substation. So that's hopefully going to be in soon. And this won't really have an impact on the belt line here, but it will have an impact on how quickly the trains can unload at this stop. And that should be important. Okay, now we need to fix this. So these two are on the wrong side of their belts, which means we need you to go in like that, while you go in like that. And then you go underground a little bit. Make sure that that's all upgraded. And then we have the same thing here. So you go in like that, while you go into there. And then all of that gets upgrade planned. And that should be another marginal improvement to our supply of scrap. And apparently this guy up here isn't connected properly. And there's weird stuff happening with all the power lines around here. So let's get that connection done, because not sure how that happened, but this section down here is apparently just on a different grid. So that's all up and running now. And we are successfully delivering some items. Now this side is not fully correct. So you need to go like that, and those belts need to not exist, I think. And neither do those belts. And we have a random couple of blue belts in there, which are probably over here too. And then this is something weird, which I don't think we need. Okay, so that should be everything. And are we now able to keep full round-the-clock input out of these? It looks pretty good. It looks like we've actually saturated this belt somewhere. Probably up. Actually, it looks like it's in the actual scrap cycling itself, because these belts are close, but not quite fully saturated. Although, did I just see another stupid little blue belt? Alright, let's just get as much of this whole area upgraded as possible, so that we don't have to worry about any of that. So now the scrap is fully, seems to be more or less not the limiting factor at the moment, although it might be getting there. It's been a while since we've had a delivery. Okay, so here's another delivery, and they're super fast now. And we can make them even faster by doing a similar upgrade on the scrap source as well, so that they spend as little time actively unloading as possible. Okay, so now we've got this weird thing where, like, this side is ahead on the unloading compared to this side. which is super awkward, but not much to be done about that, aside from just assume it'll probably work itself out eventually. Okay, but now this side is completely unloaded except for that one box, whereas these guys have a ton left over. I have no idea how this is working. I don't know if the boxes are filling up over time or unfilling over time. We're down to 120 legendary scrap recyclers, which is, I guess, technically progress. And we are getting our productivity modules through nice and fast as well. So that is slowly chipping away at those. We need 174 more, which is a huge amount, but not a completely insane amount. So there's that. Now this, obviously, we haven't gotten the sulfuric acid in yet. How functional is this currently? We've got recyclers in the first area, and we've got machines in the first area. We have some recyclers in the second, and machines. We've got some recyclers in the third, and machines, and we've got some recyclers in the fourth, plus machine. So this is probably like 5% functional, maybe? It's probably 5% functional, so I guess we might as well get it built up so that it can actually do stuff. So how do you need to connect in? So this output down here is the input. So we need to get a train going from here up into there, and a train going from here up and across to there. And then we need a chain signal there. We need a chain signal there. And we get a rail signal there. So that should do it. And then we have to get this one in, and you are going to come all the way down into this same general area, I think. And then you need to go in that way, and then in that way. So this whole thing is a massive mess of trains, but it should work. We've already got a signal there, so we don't need to worry about building it. We are going to need a rail signal in this general area. So pop one down there. And then we're going to need a chain signal up here, which we'll have to wait for that all to get built before we can get it placed in. And okay, we are also going to need a drone port up there for that to get built. And finally, how is this in terms of storm coverage? We need a lightning collector down here for this roboport, which has presumably just been getting zapped this whole time. Okay, is this just straight up a traffic jam? So you can't go forwards. You should be able to go forwards. What's preventing you from moving forwards here? Is it... Yeah, I don't know what's preventing you from moving forwards at all. You should be totally fine, right? It even... Okay, wait, it's because you are in this area. So we just need that signal to be back like one tick so that... So it should be coming down here eventually. It's just a question of how freaking long it's going to take. Okay, there it is. So now that signal can be removed. And hopefully we have refixed our train network here. And all the trains seem to be going now. There's a ton of them, by the way. Huge number of trains got stuck in that in like the 5 seconds that it took. Okay, so then these trains need to get built. So you get trains, and then you get 2, 3, 4 cargo wagons. 1, 2, 3, 4 cargo wagons. And then hopefully this will work out properly. We have signals in here, right? So there shouldn't be massive problems. Oh, I think I hadn't built in that chain signal yet. So that's important. And then it looks like we can use an additional rail signal like back here somewhere. Okay, so you are going to get added to the ice cube group. Just like that. And then off you go. Then you are going to get added to the blue circuit group. Blue circuits. Oh wait, no. I don't have to type that in because it already exists. Blue circuits. And off you go. Okay, so those should both be in. And somehow, like 3 of these storage chests aren't in power range. So let's just put a random thing down there just so we don't have to stare at a blinking light all the time. And now these guys are stuck again because this stone can't get through here. Okay, so why did you enter this intersection despite the fact that that's clearly a chain signal? Why did you do that? And can we move this at all forwards? Because we need a little bit more space. We need a little bit more space for that to connect up, which hopefully isn't completely infeasible. Okay, which one of these are we trying to connect to? It's like either of those, probably. Okay, so that can get built out, and then that means we can move that chain signal up to there, which should allow you to move forwards a little bit and get that wagon off the intersection here. I did not miss having to fiddle with trains and prevent them from getting jammed all the time. I did not miss this during the long period where we didn't have many. We're probably going to have to just completely tear this intersection apart and redesign it to make it less awful. But let's see if we can do it like this for a second first. Okay, I think that spot where I put that chain signal just doesn't exist properly. So we're going to have to put it in there now that we have that curve in. And that should still be enough distance for you to work just fine. So we've got a train in here for some reason. Oh, you're the blue circuits train, which was just trying to leave. Got it. It takes so long to get these signals in. There we go. So that signal is in. So now you pull all the way up to there, which is still not far enough. Gosh dang it. All right, let's tear that whole intersection out. Just remove all of that stuff. We do not want any of it. And we also don't want any of that stuff. So that can all go. Then what we need is just get the last remnants out of that. And that will mean that this doesn't have to be a chain signal. That can just be a rail signal in there, which should hopefully let you all move forwards. Okay. So this temporarily solves the problem, but this area is now disconnected. So what we're going to do is, first of all, take manual control of you, drive remotely, pull you back into your station, because we're going to be redesigning this whole thing. So you just go back and... Okay, so now you're there. We will take all of this stuff out, and instead we will create this area within this. So if you connect back to that, there's already a signal there. So that'll work no problem. And then if you need to connect up, let's see, where's the other output signal on this? Does it even exist? Did I never give you one? All right, yeah, no, let's put a rail signal back there. So then you can feed into that way. And then we will grab this and just do the same thing again. So you connect up like that, while you connect up like that. So this all exists within the signals which already exist from this intersection, so it shouldn't cause anything to break. So this should all just work, and it also looks 1,000 times neater than the previous one. Although it's still a bit messy, but you know, intersections are always going to be a bit messy, especially if you don't have the space to have nice, neat lines on both sides. So we just have to wait for all this stuff to get built. Then we need a chain signal there and a rail signal there. And that ought to be everything. So now you need to... Okay, you need to not be in that exact spot, because apparently that is the perfect spot to get random solid fuel into there, which we certainly do not want to happen. So let's get drones to clear all that stuff out. Now this is all built in except for the signals, and now it even has the signals. So you can now be set to automatic driving, and you should just work. So you are going to head down. Okay, this rail signal needs to not exist. That's fine. Okay. It's all been sorted out, I think. It looks fully functional now. And now we just need to wait for these trains to get filled up and then make it back. So our blue circuit supply is down here, and you should be able to immediately fill up. There you are. The ice cube supply should likewise be fine. You're filling up on just bulk inserters, which is a bit suboptimal for maximum speed. Just the speed of this probably isn't going to matter too much, but let's get the upgrades in anyways, since theoretically the stack inserters should be mostly free. So now this loads faster and should be a lot better off. Alright, so that is that. and we're bringing them up to here. The ice cubes haven't shown up yet. There's a bunch of these guys waiting at other ice cube destinations, it looks like. Oh, I see. We didn't give these guys train limit 1. So you get train limit 1, and you get train limit 1. Then you can just move on for now to get replaced by this other guy. And then you should just go back to the ice cube thing, fill up super fast, and then be all fine. And then did this also get... That also needs to get train limit of 1. And we're not bringing blue circuits up to this one, so that's fine. We are seemingly successfully keeping up with our electromagnetic science production. This is still functional. Yeah, it's still functional at full production speed. So that's all good. No need to worry about that. Now we head back up here, and some of these trains... I would have thought the blue circuits would have made it up here by now. Oh, they seem to have given up. We need to give you a train limit of 1, and we need to give you a train limit of 1 as well. Okay, no, the blue circuits didn't give up. They just made it here. So, this is all happening, and... Okay, it looks like there may have been some sulfuric acid in here at one point, but not right now. Okay, so now the ice cubes are making their way across, and we'll have to wait for those to show up to see if this all works or not, and we'll also quite likely have to upgrade the ice cube production. So we'll just see what happens there. We are slowly chipping away at the legendary recycler supply, and we've started to run into quality module shortages as well. So that's all fine. Very much expected. So back on Novice, these guys are still producing, right? We've got 8 of them, and we're waiting for this delivery of red circuits. So that's all going. It looks like the sulfuric acid has started to get produced. And it's very much item ingredient shortage at the moment, and fluid ingredient shortage at the production sides. So, step 1 is to upgrade these beacons so that these guys can all produce a little bit faster. And that should jump us up a little bit in terms of our speed. Is it water shortage or sulfur shortage? And the sulfur is water shortage. Or, no, the sulfur is petroleum shortage, which is doing fine, it looks like. So it looks like this... It looks like the petroleum gas production is actually like just the major limiting factor right now. So, we have enough inputs. We seemingly have enough water. Let's move those 2 speed beacons and get another one of you in. We're going to have to reroute some pipes to make this work. But that's fine. So you are going to have to go around, connect up like this somehow. And then we need the water. No, don't connect up like that. Okay, we need the water to come down from here and then go in like that, and then you flip vertically so that that's all lined up, and then that can just connect into there. Oh wait, no, that goes in direct, which is an issue. That means that this cryogen plant needs to move up, and that means all of this stuff needs to move up as well. So we pick you up, push you up that way, and then we connect that in. Then we get the power back. Get the power back online, and hopefully none of this breaks anything permanently. It's going to break things in the short term for sure. But okay, so that is the water pipe. That needs to connect up as well. And we still haven't gotten this RoboPort out yet. We just move the Spidertron over here to help with that, probably. Okay, I think the Spidertron just did some construction of some lightning collectors over there. Alright, so this should all be fine, probably. We just need to get this RoboPort out, and now the chemical plant goes in, and then that should be everything. We just need a power pole there for the RoboPort, and we also need the iron plates to show up, which might be a limiting factor, but probably won't be. Okay, so the chemical plant is in. It's running now. The iron plates are nowhere to be seen. But they should be... They should be somewhere. How much... We only have 1,000 iron plates in logistics storage. They're starting to show up now. And they seem like they're the major limiting factor. So, let's see, where do we have... I could have sworn we'd set some sort of setup over here. Oh, that was for legendary iron plates that we have over this side, which also needs to be power poled. It's a good thing I noticed that, otherwise it would be a bit of a hassle. So we just need to make sure we have enough regular old iron plates, which should be fine. We're getting 8 and a little bit per second off of the gear wheels. So that should be a-okay. And the problem is that they're all the way over here. So there's just a massive delay. So let's get those just in a buffer chest, like... Actually, does that even make a difference? Probably makes a very small difference. So we get a buffer chest out here, and you are going to be requesting like 1,000 iron plates, and then you go over here, you can request from buffer chests. So that should help us with that. Looks like the iron plates aren't really the major limiting factor anymore. It's back to the sulfur, which is still having petroleum gas problems, despite the fact that... Oh, that's why, because these guys got booted out of the range of the speed modules, which slowed them down immensely. So let's get those back in. And in the meantime, how is this all going? We've got a whole lot of tier 2 green circuits, a whole lot of tier 1 green circuits, but no red circuits anywhere to be found. Because of course not, why would there be? But at least the sulfuric acid is going, and it is being instantly used, which indicates that some of these guys must have the circuits to do stuff. Oh, wait, you... Okay, so these guys up here didn't get the upgraded recipes. Right, so we need you to be swapped to uncommon processing units. And you get all those. Then you get swapped to rare processing units. And then you get swapped to epic processing units. And that should help somehow. Now, these guys are still all stuck because they can't do anything useful. Because we've got this massive belt of green circuits, which I still do not understand why it is that this sort of thing happens. I still just don't understand that. But we will... Let's see, we had some way of planning to try to fix this, right? So we have this loop back into here somehow, maybe, so that the items on this belt keep moving and then get some stuff in there. I don't know. I think it starts with just an inserter all the way down at this end. And you can be filtered for green circuits only. I guess probably you can get any green circuits, but it should be fine. It should be fine either way, but just in case something weird happens. And then we can copy paste you down to there. And so that is all shoving along now. And if the red circuits exist, this whole thing should work. But they don't currently exist, and no one feels like delivering them. Which means we're going to need to spend more time thinking about it, which is pretty annoying. At least we are building up a bit of a sulfuric acid buffer now. So this is still incredibly short on petroleum, which is now short on light oil residue. So you only have one beacon, so let's just get another speed beacon in for you, because that's still a relatively efficient way of increasing production. And you can get productivity modules as well. That'll also help. So that should get this even better. And how often is this running? This is running every so often, like half the time maybe. I don't know how much sulfuric acid we're going to be using here. I don't know how much more we're going to need to expand that for it to all work out properly. And we're about to get a burst of red circuits through, which should hopefully get this whole thing fixed better. It takes a long time for it to creep through this whole stretch. Where are we losing drones? We're losing them down here. There you go, that gets covered. And so now we have red circuits in these machines, which are taking up the green circuits. And theoretically, this box, like nothing should ever reach this box, because there's just so many machines prior to it. That's the theory. Now in practice, I still don't know how to fix this, aside from like, there's got to be some way of forcing the correct ratio. I don't know what it is, but it must exist, right? Also, these guys up here have plenty of uncommon green circuits and like no uncommon red circuits, which is pretty unfortunate. At least these guys down here are starting to recycle a little bit. Like, it's kind of happening. It's not incredible, but it is a little bit of progress. So that's going. It's a huge wave of red circuits coming through here. I really don't like that these come in these massive, like, feast and famine bursts like this. I wish there was some way of ensuring that it outputs like a reasonable mix of the two, so that we don't have to do all this stuff. Alright, so the good news is now the red circuits have backlogged up to there, which I think previously when we had it down here, having like a good solid red circuit backlog was able to help keep it last for a long time. So hopefully that continues to work. And these guys are producing their uncommon blue circuits, which are going through here. And have we actually produced any output yet? No. So far, nothing. We'd have to get very lucky for that to happen, but you never know. With this many inputs, it's always possible to get very lucky. So that is just going across. And I guess we will see how well this holds up. So let's see if we just remove all of the green circuits from this box, and then we should be able to see if it ever gets more, just because there should be nothing in that box, and there should be nothing in this box as well. So those get all cleared out. And hopefully we don't need the boxes for these guys. It'll be super annoying if we do, which means that we probably will, but, you know, it would be cool if we didn't. So this is running now, and could be going a lot worse. Could be going a lot worse. Still no outputs. Still no outputs, but stuff is happening. And, yes, the massive drone swarm taking all of those green circuits out, and somehow not taking any casualties in the process. Okay, it looks like we are sending more through. That's annoying. It's really, really frustrating that apparently, like, it genuinely just seems like the ratio on these is not correct. Like, there should be 1/10 as many red circuits as green circuits, and then we should use 1/10 as many red circuits as green circuits. But for some reason, that just simply doesn't happen, and I don't know why. Like, there's clearly considerably more green circuits than red circuits. And I don't know why that is, and I don't know how to fix it. So let's actually... Now, we can set up like a... We had something down here, right, that just counts them. Did we dismantle that? I think we dismantled that. Yeah, I think that was part of like the system before the current one or something. Alright, it is kind of working. We just need some way to ensure that the green circuit supply doesn't completely overwhelm us. And also, it seems like the blue circuit output is starting to become an issue now, too. So, there aren't enough of these machines running, because presumably their outputs are all filled. Yeah, there aren't enough of these machines running to actually do anything. And that's annoying because the outputs shouldn't be filled. Like, these should be... They should be completely drained of all their stuff 100% of the time. And I don't understand why that isn't happening, unless I've done the math wrong. Okay, now we're starting to lose drones out in this area. It's probably all these guys carrying the green circuits away, which I don't really care about, so it's just a weird one-time setup, so I don't really care. We're going to need to find some better way of making sure that that all works. Now, I was positive when I did the math that this would all work out. Maybe we need all of these belts to be turbos. I don't know why, but I was pretty sure I'd done the math and express belts should have worked. But maybe they don't. We're a couple express belts short. We should be able to get the Spidertron up there to help with that, because I think he carries some. But who knows. So this is going now, and we have a whole bunch of red circuits. And so I think the thing that's happening is that because these guys aren't able to output well enough, that's causing the problem. Now, we can just... Can we just use both sides of the belt? No, because we're kind of relying on using just the one side of the belt to get these inputs across. So that won't work super easily. We're apparently only missing 8 turbo belts, and knowing my luck, they're probably going to be like the 8 most important belts to getting it all to go fast enough. Okay, let's do the math one more time. These produce 8 green circuits per second, which is a stack of green circuits. A stack is 16, so that's a stack of green circuits every 2 seconds. So if we have a stack of green circuits every 2 seconds, then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 40. So if it's a stack every 2 seconds times 40, that's a stack every second times 20. So it's 20 stacks per second. And these belts can hold 30 items per second on one half. So it should be enough. It should be enough according to the math. And then the reds are just going to add a tenth of that. So it's going to be 22 stacks per second. And we have 30 stacks per second of room. So again, it really should be that there's enough space for all of these. So why is that not happening? Because we really need that to be the case. We need all of these to be outputting their full capacity 100% of the time. Because if they don't, then we get these weird backlogs where, you know, this guy just decides to only output green circuits for 2 years, and then we have problems. Okay, so this, just adding a longer buffer doesn't seem to have helped at all. I mean, I don't know, maybe it helped a little bit, but maybe probably not much. And what we need to do is we need to prevent this from being a problem at all by making sure that these guys have enough output to be fine. So these output everything to here. So I guess we can make a minor improvement by doing that. This will give us a tiny bit of extra space because the red circuits because then we'll use both sides of the belt here, but then the red circuits get sorted out to the other side there. Maybe? No, that actually just doesn't make a difference, I think. It just like changes where the prioritization is. So that's not working. That isn't working at all. We are making decent progress on getting the legendary recyclers in. And these guys are still doing their thing. Fulgora support has some advanced circuits, which means that the old system down here is still working. Which is also a mystery in itself. Like, I know I gave it just a massive buffer, but the fact that it's still working when the other one has failed is kind of annoying. Okay, so this is actually backlogged on red circuits, which is fine, I think. As long as the green circuits show up. So I just need to figure out this whole problem where, okay, now this isn't right. Okay, so now we've just managed to break it completely by doing this. So we need to fix that by having you go back in the way you need to. So we were previously doing some weird stuff with this, and we need to stop doing that. We need all of these outputs to be on the one side of the belt. And hopefully the red circuits can make it through to keep draining this stuff out. Otherwise, it's going to be a big issue. And we do have this outlet back there as well. Okay, so let's start by just assuming these guys are doing fine, right? There's nothing going wrong here. The problem is that the system feeding into them isn't fine. So the system feeding into them, these belts have sort of the same output for green circuits as red circuits, and that's fundamentally what's causing the problem. So what if we set it up so that those were split off to begin with? So how do we do that? Let's head back to some area over here where we have space to plan. Let's get in... First of all, let's get in a recycler. So, there are two alternatives. Alternative one is we assume that this entire system is actually functional and it's just that the uncertainty is causing problems. Solution 2 is to assume that we don't want this to all be outputting onto the same belt, because that only works if we have full output going through, which we can't guarantee that we do. So let's try just designing this in a way that has an output each. So it needs to be able to deal with 8 items per second from the green circuit side, which a single bulk inserter is easily able to do. So we get 2 of these. This one is filtered to green circuits. This one is filtered to red circuits. And then they both have their stack inserters onto what would be 2 belts. So they each have their own belt. And then, so this is going to have the problem with different quality levels, which we can solve with the decider combinators. So we're going to have to get those placed in once we know where they're going to fit. So what we need is we need these to feed into a single belt that runs all the way down, right? So we have, let's just build those out. So we're going to have one for the green, one for the reds. So the reds, or one of them anyways, and I guess the reds would be the easiest, just goes in like that. Then the other one would be going across and then in like that. Or we could make it more compact by having it go like that, which means that you would need an input there, but then this could then, no, that actually doesn't quite line up well enough for what we need it to, so we're going to scrap that. The space constraints on this is quite considerable, so that has to go along like that, because we just have this being like a too wide setup is quite a complication. So then this loops around like that and feeds in. So this gives us a belt of all our green circuits up here, a belt of all our red circuits down there, and this isn't too wide. So if we try to copy paste this, like the closest we can do is something like this. So I guess just 3 wide. And I guess that's fine. We can even, for these are 4 wide recyclers. We put them in sideways. So we still get the space by doing it this way. So then we need our decider combinators. And where are those? We get decider combinators, and you can read from both of these simultaneously and then output to both of these simultaneously. And you are going to be, for each greater than or equal to 16, output each at a value of 1. So that should do it. And then these guys need to be set filters and set filters. And so that should be fine. They might get some weird filters on them, but it shouldn't be an issue. So then we can just copy that setup across, obviously. And we get our input belt, which goes through there and feeds the blue circuits in. And then this should work. It should output whichever we need it to be, as long as the difference isn't truly enormous, because it's going to be outputting to 2 separate boxes. And then we take this, and I guess we can then eventually crunch these down to a single belt, just merge the 2 together, and that should be fine, because they are not that, because there's never a point where we have to wait for green circuits before the red circuits can get out. So we copy this a whole bunch more times, and I think we need to remove those for it to tile perfectly. Okay, then we have that, and we need a belt there. So we copy this whole thing, and we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we have a row of 20 of them. then we need to shift this over a little bit. So you go like there, and then flip vertically to get the other ones in. And so this would be our new recycling setup to get the green and red circuits out. So if we copy this, this is the same amount of output as the other one, but it's just a lot bigger. So how does this fit in? It's like, let's see, so the inputs go into like that area, so it's like almost twice the size. There's got to be a way of making this more compact, right? So what if instead of doing it like this, no, well, okay, what I was thinking was basically just what we had done the first time, so that's probably not going to work. So this is like an idea. It would work if it weren't for the fact that it's just so unreasonably large. I want it to be something which can fit in at least not too much more space than this. Like, I'm fine with it going a little bit over, but I don't want it to be this massive, like in all dimensions. So let's then think. How do we do this? We could just do this, but splitting the red circuits out like halfway through. So instead of doing it like this, it just works. Okay, so these guys are currently fully saturated and basically just jammed. So they don't have room for outputs because these guys don't have the ability to run, which is pretty gross. So the whole thing is just stockpiling up indefinitely, which means this might... Are these guys not fast enough? I guess they should be fully capable of using all of these, right? So each of these is 25. So each of these is more than a stack per second. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, wait. Is that right? We had 40 of these. We had 40 machines here. And they did... We had 40 machines, and they each do a stack every 2 seconds. So that's 20 stacks per second total of green circuits. And a stack is 16. So 20 times 16 is 320. And these are 25 or 29, depending. So that's going to be 25, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, and then more than that because most of these are 29s instead of 25s. So it should be good enough production-wise. I don't know, maybe we have to add like one more batch of these guys on the end in order to make it work properly. But who knows? That's going to require removing this massive box of 9.6K green circuits as well. Alright, so let's do that by... It's going to be easier to just like move the output of this box out of the way and just into another box down here, rather than have all the drones do all that work. And we then remove that inserter so that we don't import any more stuff into the box. It does seem to be kind of working. The problem is there's too much blue circuits in here. And that should be a problem which gradually resolves itself, right? So the blue circuit loopback is providing a huge amount of blue circuits per second. Right? Like almost the full amount. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that sometimes more of these guys are getting in, despite the fact that there's always stuff on here, because this is an express belt. That's what it is. So we need this belt to be fully upgraded, and that should then allow it to keep up with the demand on this turbo splitter and prevent any new stuff from going in there, which means that this will drain all that we need it to drain. Okay, then we also need a random power pole down there. And the red circuits have backlogged all the way up to here. This actually is looking remarkably functional at the moment. So that's something, I guess. So we just need this whole thing to eventually this will drain, right? Because the amount of blue circuit construction materials that goes out of here is strictly less is less than the amount of blue circuits that would be needed to make those, because we don't have magical 100% productivity. So this should drain over time, which should be good. And then we will see what happens from there. We also don't have a box connected up at all right now, and we have a massive line of red circuits. So that is actually looking promising. Our new upgraded design might not be necessary with that one upgrade. So these ones, that doesn't matter because they are not receiving fresh input. So it's just this first one where we need to make sure that the input belt is fast enough. So that's all going. And it does look like these are technically starting to drain now that we've fixed that problem. It's hard to tell for sure. It's hard to tell for sure, but hopefully it's working. So really the problem is that this works on average, but random spikes can happen, which is obviously not helpful. So how do we prevent the random spikes from causing problems? Also, we also need to make sure that this doesn't have a preference for which side it takes from, because if this continues to drain like this, then eventually this side will be empty and like half of this will be running while the other half gets choked up with fresh input. So we need to create a little thingamabob in here. So we just get... This is trivial, right? So we just go you loop out this way, stop trying to downgrade it, and you go into there, you go into there, and now we have full output going to both sides regardless of what happens. And let's this was relatively easy to concoct, so let's just take you out for now. Every chance that we'll want to use it later, but I'm still optimistic that we can get this setup functional again. So this setup means that we're feeding both sides of with blue circuits from here evenly no matter what. And again, I do not believe that this matters for any of these ones. And why do from a distance, the uncommon symbols look blue on these, which makes me think they're rares, but they definitely aren't. Okay, then, up here, we have actually managed to fully overwhelm our supply. We have legendary green circuits. They've somehow gotten down here. That should be completely impossible. Oh wait, no, they're getting brought in when these guys get lucky. The legendary green circuits go in. So we need to fix that problem. So let's see. These ones send items just directly up into that loop. Why do they? That's not what any of the rest of these guys do. Yeah, that is not what any of the rest of these guys do. These are meant to be going over this way, up here, and then into that splitter. So that's how that's supposed to connect up, right? That's what all the rest of these guys do. So we have that. Then we have storage chests up here for legendary items. So you get filtered to be legendary green circuits, as do you, and then you can be filtered for legendary red circuits, just in case those ever become available. So down here, this is actually, it's looking a lot better now, at least. So now we have a slight oversupply of red circuits. And these guys are doing their thing. No problems there. The sulfuric acid is keeping up. Yeah, so I think this is actually starting to work. And it was just this silly return loop that we had, which was causing problems, I think. And then this system here definitely also doesn't need to exist, because these are all getting forced onto one half of a belt down there anyways. So let's tear that out and put you back like that. So now things are prioritized better again. It looks like the red circuit supply has decreased a little bit. So hopefully we might need to... It might just need to be that we have a red circuit surplus instead of a green circuit surplus. Because if we're even or have a green circuit surplus, those fill up the belt incredibly quickly, whereas the red circuit surplus is more space efficient. So I think we just need to like have these setups here just temporarily at the beginning, and then they should fix themselves over time. Let's also just, these lightning collectors technically not being connected up to the power grid has been bugging me this whole time. Let's just fix those real quick. Doesn't really matter. We don't need the power from them. We just want the light to stop blinking. Alright, so this is going now. And the whole loop is happening. And, okay, let's again just like straight up disconnect that, just so that it can definitely never be a problem. So we are starting to hit a point where these guys aren't outputting that much. So I'm not sure why that is. It's not a sulfuric acid shortage, it's just like how much the input has available to it, I think. So we're going to cut off this new supply of fresh blue circuits. We have, because of how efficient this is, we should have an absolutely monstrous amount of legendary items queued up ready to go. Okay, and then we just need to fix all this mess, which somehow doesn't do its sorting correctly. I'm not sure why that is. Probably just a leftover from when this was connected in wrong. Oh, and also from that being connected in wrong, probably. Okay, so then we get our boxes, and these are going to be filtered for green circuits of any type to get removed from the belt. And let's get a drone port up there so that these guys can be available. And you haven't been built yet. Does Spidertron have those? No, Spidertron just has stack inserters. Alright, so that should get us cleared up eventually. Just get things nudged along so that this can start functioning. And then hopefully it'll work from there. And we also are going to need the excess green circuit destroyer. So let's just copy this, bring you up here, and you just get popped in. And I guess we're just building over the ocean now. I'm sure it'll be fine. So you can connect up to there. And now all that will get built. We seem to have enough foundation for it currently. So we should be all fine and ready to go. This is still cooking along. It takes a lot of work to clear all this stuff out. Hopefully some of these epic red circuits can get through and start this moving more naturally as well. But if not, then it is what it is. So this is almost entirely in. We're just waiting on the recyclers, which are just regular recyclers, so this shouldn't be an issue. And they just have to come in from pretty far away, I think. So this might well need a second box, so let's get that in. And, okay, so you are taking those out. Then we also, just in case, want you to take specifically legendary red circuits out as well. Because we cannot have either of those in this row in order for it to work correctly. So, we've got this massive wave of the correct input going in. And once that hits, it's all going to work out. And we should rapidly stop having this issue in just a couple seconds. There we go. So now this is cycling properly. It's got the red circuits, and the green circuits are going out. Where are we losing drones? We're losing drones over here. So let's just get some of that area covered. And then I think we also were losing some up in this vicinity. So there we go. This is definitely not how you're supposed to do Fulgora. Just brute forcing it with drones everywhere, but it's also certainly how I'm doing Fulgora, so there. Okay, so this is working again. We need it to drain to fix the problems that it was having earlier, but once it drains, we should be able to reconnect it without too much difficulty, without anything breaking, basically. And in the meantime, we are seemingly getting a decent chunk of legendary red circuits. This is actually running super well up here at the top because of how efficient it all is, even though a lot of these guys don't even have the right modules. It's still just slowly getting there. And Fulgora support is coming back with another 10 quality modules. So back over to Novice. This is still red circuit limited. Nothing has changed there at any point. Yeah, these guys are also still red circuit limited. Got plenty of biter eggs. So yeah, everything there is just looking normal. And this row here has got a bit of an overfill of green circuits. Let's see if it's able to handle that. It should be able to, right? Because the box isn't anywhere near saturated. So it looks like our extra long buffer belts might be keeping this functional. It's hard to say for sure, but it might be happening. And if we want it to be properly fixed, we would just need to drain some of these extra circuits out so that it's biased towards red circuits just a little bit. So that's all working. And yeah, let's do that. So we get the box, we get the bulk inserter filtered towards green circuits. And that will just give it the correct bias that we need it to have, so that we have this nice long row of red circuits preventing the green circuits from backlogging. So this is slowly doing its thing as well. We have full output speed basically 100% of the time at this point, and it's working. So that's all good. And then this is all set up as well. So yeah, we should have the correct bias on every single row. You can see the very small red circuit buffer in there as well. So that should be more or less operational, and now it's just a matter of waiting for it to finish. So our concrete cycling is happening, and we actually have more than enough concrete. So you are short on legendary steel plates, which we should be able to fix relatively easily because we got our... Can those get made in here? No. So the only way to make steel plates is furnaces and foundries, I believe. Right? I think we check that. Right, so there's a different recipe for it in the foundry, which we obviously can't use for this because we need to transfer legendary. So let's get that furnace in, just a regular old electric furnace, which we do apparently have. Very nice. And then you get a requester chest, and you are going to request not 100 iron plates, 100 legendary iron plates. And then you are going to send those forwards and convert them up. And we only need a couple. And then while we're bringing in the legendary iron plates, let's also get another branch off of you to make the legendary iron gear wheels that we're going to need at some point for this. And again, we only want like a tiny little box of that. We should have tons of these, right? Yeah, because they're a byproduct of all the massive excess of legendary green circuits that we have. So that's all in. Waiting for the bulk inserters to make it across now. And once this gets going, it should massively improve our supply of legendary recyclers, at least until the legendary concrete cycling becomes the limiting factor again. So okay, we can actually productivity module these, and we then might as well give them a legendary speed beacon, because otherwise we're going to be waiting here for a while. So those are in. And this needs a ton of items per second of each of those, so these aren't gonna like keep this going at full capacity, but that was never really a realistic thing to have happen anyways, so just get it going a little bit faster. Should be more than enough. So that is providing us with 1 legendary gear wheel per second. This one will be providing us with a tiny amount of legendary iron plates, or steel plates per second. Where is that? Where is that legendary beacon? It's taking forever. Surely it'll be showing up any second now. It can't possibly take that this long. Alright, it's in, and it needs a power pole, and let me guess, the speed modules are also going to take a year and a half to get here. I wish they would start carrying the speed modules over preemptively, knowing that the beacon would get placed. It's just so slow otherwise. Alright, so we're getting all this through. We're mostly just making the gear wheels, which is fine. We do still need those. Alright, the power pole is in. Now it's just the speed modules. We just need the stupid speed modules. Any second now. And we also probably need to set this up to request like 500 at a time, just so that we get enough actually traveling the lengthy distance all the way across the entire planet. Alright, speed modules are in. So now that should help cover for the legendary steel plates. And that is that. Alright, so back up here to this system. Bottom row seems fully functional. Uncommon row, fully functional. Rare row would be fully functional if it had anything on the belts, which is fine. So it's just going a bit slowly. And then the epic row is molasses, but it's doing its thing nonetheless. So we have received already thousands of green circuits from this, which at the 10-to-1 ratio means this is like 500 red circuits out of here, approximately. It's hard to get exact numbers, but it's going to be somewhere along those lines. Which is not terrible at all, considering it's missing like 80% of everything that it needs to run properly, and doesn't have modules or anything, and we also set it up like not too long ago. All things considered, going pretty well. So this first one is by far the most likely to have problems because it's the highest throughput, and also because it's where the fresh input comes in, which we are going to need to address at some point. We don't need to do it now, of course. Theoretically, this should drain out over time, and then we can worry about getting the fresh input in. With the productivity modules, even with like half of these, the efficiency is so high that it takes a very, very long time to actually drain, because so many of these make it back. Like this is 275% productivity, so that the total productivity is 375%, right? Because it's base 100. And then these are like negative 400% productivity, so we're losing like a quarter of a blue circuit per craft cycle, essentially, which is pretty spectacular for recycling setups. And so that's all good. Let's also hop down here. Is this loop working? No, this one is jammed again. And I don't understand what is causing this one to have like infinite problems and the other ones haven't. The other ones the one up there has just been working. But it's probably to do with the fact that we're constantly jamming more resources into it. So let's disconnect you as well. Oh, did we disconnect the wrong one? No, we disconnected the right one, yes. Okay, so this input belt is full. So I think we actually had a similar problem to this way earlier with the copper wire. And yeah, we had to occasionally hold it off from going in. Now, right now it's not running just because like all this stuff is full basically. Or at least that's all full. Although actually it looks like this might have another unrelated problem. So what is going on here? Oh right, yeah, so this is full, and this is the thing that's causing them all to stop and wait. So yeah, but prior to that, we had this same problem here where we have copper wire and we need to hold it off from entering the system when it doesn't need to. So we're going to have to set up something similar here on Fulgora as well. So we are draining down the green circuits, and again, this should be inducing a bias towards red circuits in the systems. And this one seems to have too much of a bias towards red circuits, which is something which can't reasonably happen with the new systems because of our, what's it called? Because of our longer loops, but it is something to be a little bit concerned about, I guess. We will take you and give you that filter. Oh, and you're a stack inserter, so you're going to need to be changed to a bulk inserter so that you don't do weird things. Alright, so that is unbiasing towards red. So now that should be good enough for you that we can then stop that and have it be functional again. Because we still do want to have more red circuits than we need, just don't want to have that many more that it was actually causing problems. So this is still running, and it's gonna be a little bit... Somehow we've managed to just not get any red circuits onto these belts ever, but it's starting to happen now, so that's good. So this is slowly going through, and it is giving us a solid amount of output, which is good. We have 276 more on the way, and another 2,000 on the way of the green circuits, which I wonder if we're actually... Are we successfully using all the green circuits here on Novice, I wonder? Because I know we were using them for some things. I feel like 6,200 is lower than it was in the past, so maybe? I don't know. It's possible. If that becomes an issue, we just turn it back on and it's fine. So that's all good. This is still just draining all the excess green circuits out, and it's probably just going to take absolutely forever to do. But hopefully it gets there eventually. And we're seeing a whole lot of like higher quality red circuits pass through, but not many of the base quality ones. And this is another one where our new setup is just better designed to not have that sort of problem. So these are... So yeah, these guys are getting their output from this, and then they're just able to immediately put everything they produce out onto the belts, including red circuits. So that is how this is supposed to work. And these are just feeding a passive provider chest, which isn't ideal. We're going to want to get actual just direct rocket launches up here eventually, but for now it's good enough. Our scrap supply is still hanging in there, and none of these guys have gotten jammed. So everything seems to be working pretty well. Like, at this point we just wait, and this gets built up. We're starting to fall behind on the quality modules, which is going to impact the efficiency of that setup, but that's fine. Eventually, we will get all of these done, and then we can start getting more modules in. Productivity modules, we're slowly making progress. Very slowly, but it is happening. Alright, but yeah, I think that's a good spot to end for today. So we just need to let this cook for a bit. And then we need to figure out how to get the input controlled to the right speed. Then we need to get it hooked up to a proper rocket launch output instead of having to carry it through drones a long distance. And then that should basically be it. Then once we get those two things designed, it'll just be a question of waiting for the 89 recycling machines, 110 legendary productivity modules, and it's going to be a lot more than 70 some. It's going to be hundreds of quality modules, but we just have to wait for those, and then it should all be fine. And probably a lot of this is overkill. At least at first glance, that seems to be the case, because this isn't outputting an enormous amount, but it is outputting like a pretty good amount. Anyways, so that will be that. We'll be playing this again on Monday, and I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so if you're interested in various factory building games, make sure to stop by then. I might be taking the Tuesday and Thursday off because I just finished Satisfactory. Not sure whether that is actually going to end up being a vacation or not. We will see. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.